And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries. And, you know,
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. Think of this.
Only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they are Africans, and if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians or Khazars to be precise, from Russia. I learned it from my grandfather that because he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
Black people can't be anti-Semitic. We are Jew. You understand what I'm saying? We are Jew. So cool out. Until you do your facts, until you really do the facts with the fake indoctrination that y'all pull into the schools and all that, you know what I'm saying? We're not following y'all rules.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israelite, that's who we are. That's who we are. So, if you give me time, if you give me time, all that he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews?
This world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
Hitler was, and the Nazis, of course, expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics, right? Eugenics was a movement that was born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African American community in this country, right? To eliminate them. With the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah, with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
Their bones were discovered in Kafse caves near Nazareth in Galilee in 1933. 13 fragile skeletons, one a woman, a tiny baby at her feet. When these bones were first uncovered, they were the oldest complete modern human skeletons ever found.
The numerous skeletons that have been found in caves in Israel at the sites of Kafse and Shkul show us that there were modern humans outside of Africa over 100,000 years ago. Those modern humans may well have gone up the Nile corridor through Sinai.
Black people can't be anti-Semitic. We are Jew. You understand what I'm saying? We are Jew. So cool out until you do your facts. Until you really do the facts with the fake indoctrination that y'all put into the schools and all that. You know what I'm saying? We're not following y'all rules.
You can convert to Judaism. You can't convert to a blood family. You cannot convert to a race. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
Jesus was not a black man. I saw this well-known preacher on Easter Sunday was saying he was preaching that Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday, the death, burial, and resurrection that they preach about was all about the persecution of a black man, and that how Jesus was a black man, and that his evidence that Jesus was a black man was because he didn't get a fair trial by the Roman government, and that he used that, begin to manipulate the black men in the room and start declaring no weapon formed against the black men will prosper, and no legal weapon will formed against the black men will prosper, and all of this Marxist, fascist nonsense that he was spewing from the pulpit. And I was watching as men stood up in the room and they're shedding tears over this nonsense, and my heart is broken because I'm thinking, man, what you're hearing right now in this moment is not even consistent with the word of God. I know some of you got him hanging on your wall, a black man with locks, but Jesus was not a black man. We know from history and we know from the word of God that Jesus was an ethnic Jew, and he was born into a family of ethnic Jews, and he was raised around the Torah, and he learned the things of Jewish family, and he went into the synagogue as was his custom, and he fulfilled the law because he came to do that, and he came to his own first, the people of Israel, the Jewish race.
So we're supposed to we're just being told that anti-Semitism is now criticizing Israel. Anti-Semitism is anything they want it to be. They can't even define it. They admit in this bill that they've passed through the House that there's really truly no actual protection for Jews, but they're just making it up as they go because they want to say, well, but Semites, which we shouldn't even be using that word anymore, because most Jews who practice the religion of Judaism or who are culturally Jewish, even if they don't practice the Jewish religion, but they're culturally Jewish, like many are culturally Christian. Many of us celebrate Christmas, but we're not Christian. That's cultural Christianity. It is what it is, right? They can't define it. They're putting all these rules on us. We shouldn't even allow them to use the term anti-Semitism. It's not real. Most of these Jews are not Semites.
Without getting too semantic, or at the risk of getting too semantic, does it matter that the Jews are not Semites, or does this phrase anti-Semitism just means hatred for the Jewish people? They're Ashkenazi, they're Eastern European Jews.
I just had a rabbi give me an analogy. He said, look, imagine you left your home and then someone came and occupied it, and then you try to get it back, and then they went to the judge. Have you heard some of these analogies? Maybe you can.
Yeah, that's assuming that, that's taking it into a place which I don't usually go. That's making the assumption that today's Jews are really the descendants of the ancient Hebrews that used to live in that part of the world some 3,000 years ago. That's making the assumption that today's Jews are really the descendants of the ancient Hebrews that used to live in that part of the world some 3,000 years ago.
That's making the assumption that today's Jews are really the descendants of the ancient Hebrews that used to live in that part of the world some 3,000 years ago.
How about you? Are you a white Jew?
So we could elaborate on this debate. I'm going to try to stay sort of in the pocket here, one thing at a time. But am I white passing? Absolutely. How we're going to define
you said you're white passing.
There are Ashkenazi Jews who are entirely European in their DNA. That's why you're not allowed to have a DNA test in Israel, because it will reveal that virtually none of them are Semitic, virtually none of them have any ancestral connection to the land. I was viciously assaulted by a manager in the BBC who had recently converted to Judaism. It's fine. I love all religions. But you can't say I've now converted to Judaism and therefore I have a right to go to the land of Palestine and live in the house of someone whose ancestors have been living in it for thousands of years.
But some of us use our race as idolatry. I don't care. Black people do that. White people do that. We exalt our race as a form of idolatry. Jesus was not a black man. He was an ethnic Jew and had skin like brass and hair like wool. And had skin like brass and hair like wool.
And had skin like brass and hair like wool.
No, let me talk heavy for just a second. For everybody that think he's the baby in the manger, no. He's the one that got eyes like fire. And who's wearing a robe that's been dipped in blood. Who got a tattoo on his thigh that says King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope and pray all is well with you guys. And I know this is not a scheduled live, but I have a lot going on this weekend. So not sure if I'll be able to do a live tomorrow night. But I will try to do a live tomorrow night. A lot to cover tonight. This is kind of piggybacking off of what I did last week. Last week we had a discussion based upon the comments of Pastor Philip Mitchell, Anthony Mitchell's, his comments that he made in regards to the Messiah. I had other comments that I want to post here. Just some of the craziness that you hear people are saying. So I wanted to just do an in-depth teaching for those that may not be familiar with the scriptures and how to also articulate and defend them. You know, you heard what he said. It was a lot that he said inside the short clips that I played. And I will say that there's a lot of things that he's stated in many of his messages that's very questionable, you know, that really don't go along with the scriptures. But I will say this, you know, because I do know that there's a lot of our brothers and sisters who follow him and others like him can really get caught up in the theatrics or the emotionalism and think that it's the Holy Spirit speaking to them, you know. And I've said this over and over again. If you really want to build a ministry, grow a platform, just start teaching about end time prophecy. And I can tell you emphatically his whole approach, what he's teaching in regards to end time prophecy is Eurocentric all the way. Right. So we got a lot to cover, and we're going to debunk Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell's comments regarding the Messiah. And I have no problem if there's anyone from his church, his ministry, or have any contact with him and want to put him in contact with me. I have no problems. I would love to have a conversation with him and engage him. and others that are in that circle. Because I will say this. What he stated with saying that the Messiah is not a black man per se, it has a rippling effect for those that are following him. And if I have time, I may go to a video that my cousin Bishop Brown posted on his channel with a young man who is echoing those same things of what this pastor has stated. So nevertheless, family, without prolonging getting started here, because I know with the intro, I shared a lot of videos to really, for those that are watching for the first time, that should provoke questions. It should stir questions in you. I'm sharing nothing but sources. I have nothing but sources. And in this lesson, I'm going to give you nothing but sources, starting with the Holy Word, debunking what this pastor has said. But again, I'll say it again, end time prophecy, when you teach end time prophecy, people have an itching ear for what's going to happen at the end of the world, especially when you have certain things going on over in the Middle East. Any type of situation that stirs up, that's where you see a lot of the end time prophecy enthusiasts come to the surface. All right. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into it, family. You know how we do. Matter of fact, before we get into it, let me go ahead and post the Cash App, because I know many of you guys like to contribute to the channel via Cash App. So I'm going to go ahead and post that here. Let me just go ahead and get to my channel here real quick, and then we'll get into the lesson. But again, family, I have no problem if anyone from his ministry have a connection to him and would like to have me engage him. I would love to. I would love to. All right. Wouldn't have any problems with it, and stand firmly on the scriptures. All right, here we go. Let me see here. All right, let me post this here, then we'll get started. And you guys know how we do. We'll do some, I'll post some polls here for your participation, and we'll use that as an opportunity to give shout outs as well. All right, so let's get into it, family. Now, you guys may be familiar with some of the things, information I'm going to present, but I'm a firm believer that it never gets old. Just like at your jobs, you have to take refreshers, or if you have certain certifications in specialized fields or specialized skill sets, you have to do refreshers, with your certifications. So that's what we're going to do here. But I'm going to walk you guys through on how to completely respond to what you've heard here. So let's go and get into it, family. Let's get into it. Let me set this up here. All right. I know someone posted, said he probably would yell at me. I'm from Jersey. Trust me, I am from Jersey. And those that know about the metropolitan area, I'm from Newark, New Jersey. So, we built a certain way. So, I have no fear about anyone raising voices and all that other stuff. But I'm sure he wouldn't do that. But anyway, let's go and get into it, family. Let's go and get into it. I'm just setting my screen up over here. Let me get to my clips here, because I do want to play the video clips as I progress in certain areas, just to kind of let you hear what he said as we build on this. So let's go ahead and get into the first question that I want to address before we get into the descriptions of the Messiah. All right, we're going to answer this question. Did Yahushua have a tattoo? Did Yahushua have a tattoo? We're going to answer this question. Right. And this is coming from his video that he did on Christ, right? He did a series on identity. So many questionable things to touch on because he's overall the theme is it doesn't matter what your skin complex, not skin complex, it doesn't matter what your ethnicity is, but what does matter is your identity, how it's defined through Christ. You know, you guys heard that before. It doesn't matter uh, how you look. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin. You know, especially when it comes to our people. You know, it didn't. You didn't hear those comments. You know, when it came to their those people, for us, those that have hijacked an identity that never belonged to them. You never heard anyone saying, "Well, you know, it just doesn't matter what the color of the blood. I mean, his skin complexion is, as long as the color of his blood is red." You know, and I'm sure you guys heard that before. And so, kind of pushing this these type of words that I like to play this clip right here, pushing this narrative.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
No, let me talk heavy for just a second. For everybody that think he's the baby in the manger, no. He's the one that got eyes like fire. And who's wearing a robe that's been dipped in blood. Who got a tattoo on his thigh that says King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
All right, so let's go ahead and answer some of these questions. Let's address this real quick. This is pretty simple to answer, and we're going to use scripture. Did the Messiah, did Yahweh Shai? I know some of you guys may say Yeshua, some may say Jesus, but we're going to go off the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh Shai. All right, and let's answer this question. Did Yahweh Shai have a tattoo? Did Yahweh Shai have a tattoo? I'm going to say absolutely not. And many other pastors have pushed this narrative as well to appease those that have tattoos. You know, you have people in the church that have tattoos of the name Jesus on their skin, you know, pushing that narrative. And I want to prove to you that that is completely incorrect. And that is trying to appeal to a certain demographics. So let's go and debunk this real quick as we get into the meat and potatoes. Let's go to Revelation chapter 19, verse 16. And it reads, "And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords." Now, you guys know the phrase that ties into this, right? You know, Negus, Negus, right? Nagas, right? You know, and this is not using it in the form of slang, any type of slang. We know the word is a Ethiopian word that means King of Kings, Lord of Lords, right? The ancient pronunciation is Nagas, right? Nagaste, Nagaste, which transliterates to King of Kings, Lord of Lords, all right? And we know the word Naga or Neges transliterates to kings or captain, governor, leader. And then the ancient Hebrew is Nagad, and the Israelis pronounce Nagid. But nevertheless, it says here, "And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings, Lord of Lords." The ancient Hebrew, King of Kings, the word for king in ancient Hebrew is Malak, right? And I know some of you guys will say, wait a minute, Malak or Molech. Wait a minute, that's you know, worshiping pagans. Understand this, family. You have what is called loaned words. Now, in ancient Hebrew, Malak means king, transliterates to kings. And so in the cultures like what's the culture? The Ammonites, Malak was a deity that they worshiped. We have other examples of others, like when you start getting into Balaam and all of that. Malak in the Israeli Molech, that's not the same. In ancient Hebrew, Malak transliterates to king. In the Hebrew vernacular, is king. All right. Just want to make sure we're clear. And you have, again, what is called loaned words. So King of Kings, Malak, Lord of Lords, Adonaiah, which means superintendent of the house. All right. So, and he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Let's break this down. All right. So it says the name is on his vesture and on his thigh, meaning the inscription was likely embroidered or displayed on his garment covering the thigh area. Let me say that again. This is not referring to a tattoo being placed on his thigh. This is his garment that he was wearing. And we'll read it again, because in ancient times, right? Let me fix this slide, because I see some animations that shouldn't be there. Let me fix this real quick. All right. Let me make sure we don't have any more of these. All right. Hopefully we don't have any more. I have to fix it as we go. All right. Ancient garments often bore symbolic inscriptions or fringes, especially in position of honor or identity. Let me say that again. Ancient garments often bore symbolic inscriptions or fringes, especially in position of honor or identity. But let's go to Leviticus chapter 19, verse 28. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. So there's a law in place for the Israelites not to have any tattoos, nor print any marks upon you. So with the scriptures, clearly states that we are not supposed to have tattoos. Now, many of us been in the world. Now, I don't have any tattoos, never had a desire to have any tattoos, but many have tattoos while you are out in that world. Now, once you come to this understanding, once you start understanding who you are, guess what? The Most High understands that, hey, that was in your past. But moving forward, you should not be getting any tattoos. You know, the message that this particular pastor is teaching, he's pushing the notion that it's okay to get tattoos, because he's taking the text, the scriptures, completely out of context, saying, hey, look, he had a tattoo on his thigh. And this is him trying to, again, explain to you the true Christ, the true Hamashiach. So ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. So the phrase print any marks refers to permanent markings like tattoos. All right, why does it keep doing this? I'm going to have to fix this slide, man. This thing is... All right, let me fix this real quick. My apologies, everyone. All right, not sure why I have all of these here. Let me fix this real quick. Let me see if it's any more. Yeah, I'm not sure why. And I'm going to have to check the main slide. All right. All right, I'll do a few more here. Just want to get ahead of it. That's it. Okay. All right, that appears to clear it up. All right. So Yahweh Shai, and just to give you clarity, Yahweh Shai, according to Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 through 19, he obeyed the law fully, meaning he would not violate this command. Let me go back here for those that may not have caught this. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. This is a commandment. Now we have the foundational 10 commandments, which is the words of the covenant, those 10 commandments. But then you have other commandments, other laws, statutes that teach how to
obey, and how to carry out those foundational 10. So here it says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. So again, the phrase print any marks refers to permanent markings like tattoos. So Yahweh Shai, according to Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 through 19, obeyed the law fully, meaning he would not violate this command. Think not that I come to destroy the law and the prophets. He made it clear that he did not come to destroy. He did not come to do away with. He did not come to, completely, like many would say, nail the law, statutes, and commandments on the cross. He did not come to do that. And if you want to get proper clarity, read the entire chapter. Go beyond these verses here, because then you see the Messiah start quoting or pulling from the commandments and giving clarity. He actually raised the standards to his disciples, right? So I encourage you guys, read the entire chapter. He even tells his disciples to be perfect. The Hebrew word is thamayam, which means without spot, without blemish, integrity. So again, Yahweh Shai did not come to abolish the law as the church teach, but he obeyed the law fully, meaning he would not violate this command. And for those that want to question, hey, no, you're wrong, Pastor. Well, I encourage you guys to go to Matthew chapter 19 and read the story about the young ruler who asked the question, what must I do to have eternal life? And the Messiah told him to honor the commandments and started quoting from the 10 commandments. Okay, that's eternal life. If you are not following the 10 commandments, if you're not honoring those laws, statutes, and commandments, you're not going to have eternal life. You can't just sit here and say, I confess the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ died for my sins, and I love God and I love my brothers and sisters. But yet you lying, you're stealing. No, come on now. That's not scripture. That's not what the words of the Messiah has said. So again, Yahweh Shai, according to Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 through 19, obeyed the law fully. He obeyed the law fully, meaning he would not violate this command. Yahweh Shai is repeatedly described as without blemish, without spot, without sin. This is where you get, again, the word thamayam in the Israelis called tamim, perfect. That's what perfect means. I mean, it transliterates to perfect. It means without spot. It means without blemish. It means integrity. And guess what, family? We all are supposed to be what? Perfect. Not striving to be perfect. We are supposed to be perfect according to the biblical text and understanding what the word means. All have sinned to fall short, meaning that we all have sinned. We all have blemishes because of what we've done. But guess what? You don't have to walk around and keep those blemishes. Why? Because when you have the Holy Spirit, the attributes of the Holy Spirit, according to Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1, 2, and 3, guess what? You should be walking with free from sin. You should be walking free from any blemishes. Like Zechariah and his wife Elizabeth in Luke chapter 1, it said that they were blameless. In other words, they were perfect. All right, let's continue here. Look at what 1 Peter verse 1 and 19 says. But with the precious blood of Mashiach, as of a lamb without what? Blemish and without spot. So this is clear that he did not break the law, statutes, and commandments. He did not have a tattoo. He did not have a tattoo. Contrary to what Pastor Phillips is teaching, he did not have a tattoo. So again, but with the precious blood of Mashiach, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. That is the Hebrew that is the definition of the Hebrew word thamayam. I'm saying it in the ancient Hebrew, but the Israeli is tamim. So he did not have any spots. He did not have any blemishes. And guess what? They will quote that
Yahushua is coming back for a church without spot or blemish. That's the word perfect, but yet they teach that no one's perfect. Anyway, let me continue here. All right, let's continue. So in the context of Hebrew culture, a blemish includes marks or scars outside of divine instructions. What I mean by that is anything, for example, outside of circumcision, because circumcision is the confirmation of the covenant when it was handed down to Abraham. It was confirmed with the circumcision. But outside of circumcision, when you get into like here, tattoos, considered to be pagan customs, would be a blemish under the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, so I wanted to get that out of the way. So let's play his clip because I didn't want to spend too much time on that because you guys already know. And again, it's too easy to debunk. But I see a couple of cash apps here. Let's go ahead and give some shout outs real quick. All right, I want to start off by giving shout outs and thank you. Cheryl Steele, want to say thank you for the love and support. Thank you for the super chat. Your ministry is truly a blessing. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And the family, let's show some love for Sister Cheryl Steele. Really appreciate all that you do. And thank you for the love and support in supporting what we do here. And I also want to give shout outs to Dion Jones. Time to hear the truth of the matter. All praises to the Most High Yah. Really appreciate it, my brother. And thank you for the contributions tonight. And family, let's show both of them love. Let's show our sister Cheryl Steele, Cheryl Steele. Thank you for the love and support. Show us some love, family. And show brother Dion some love as well, family. Really appreciate you all for the contributions tonight. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So, also want to give a special shout outs to my cousin, Benaiah Israel. I'm going to drop this link inside the chat if you want to come on anytime you want to say anything or, if you want to just say hello to the people. You know how it goes. If I see you in the building, I'm going to acknowledge you. Really appreciate you, cuz. All right. So let me go ahead and copy this in. All right. All right. Here we go. All right, family. So let's go ahead and continue with the lesson here. So let's transition to some key things that he said. I'm going to replay a couple of things that he said, and we're just going to go ahead and knock these things down. We're going to address it. Let's start with this clip again about saying Jesus is not a black man. And I want to make sure we just lay the foundations for tonight. Family, we already know that the ancient name for the Messiah is not Jesus. We know that is a transliterated name. But for the sake of discussion, let's not let that become a distraction and bring forth this truth tonight. All right. We understand that his name is not Jesus, but for the sake of conversation, for the sake of the narrative, we're going to use it tonight. We know it's Yahushua. I know some of you guys may say Yeshua or, and so forth. But again, we're not going to get into all of that tonight. So I'm going to play this real quick. I'm going to bring my cousin in, let him give you guys a shout out, and then we'll continue with this lesson here. So let me play the clip, and then I'll bring him in.
Jesus was not a black man. I saw this well-known preacher on Easter Sunday was saying he was preaching that Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday, the death, burial, and resurrection that they preach about was all about the persecution of a black man, and that how Jesus was a black man, and that his evidence that Jesus was a black man was because he didn't get a fair trial by the Roman government, and that he used that, begin to manipulate the black men in the room and start declaring no weapon formed against the black men will prosper, and no legal weapon will formed against the black men will prosper, and all of this Marxist, fascist nonsense that he was spewing from the pulpit. And I was watching as men stood up in the room and they're shedding tears over this nonsense, and my heart is broken because I'm thinking, man, what you're hearing right now in this moment is not even consistent with the word of God. I know some of you got him hanging on your wall, a black man with locks, but Jesus was not a black man. We know from history and we know from the word of God that Jesus was an ethnic Jew, and he was born into a family of ethnic Jews, and he was raised around the Torah, and he learned the things of Jewish family, and he went into the synagogue as was his custom, and he fulfilled the law because he came to do that. And he came to his own first, the people of Israel, the Jewish race. But some of us use our race as idolatry. I don't care. Black people do that. White people do that. We exalt our race as a form of idolatry. Jesus was not a black man. He was an ethnic Jew and had skin like brass and hair like wool. And had skin like brass and hair like wool.
And had skin like brass and hair like wool.
All right, family. Got my cousin here, Benaiah Israel, and want him to give some shout outs to you guys. Just my brother here. Really appreciate him and all that he does and all that he do, rather. And Benaiah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Pastor Kelly?
Yes, sir.
What in the world was that? Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Man, I tell you, he was wrong on all accounts. I know you're going to go through it, yeah, definitely a great topic tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, because unfortunately, so many people are echoing what he has stated. And, some has already been echoing this. Anything to try to, take the Messiah from who he really is, to make sure he doesn't look like us, anything or anyone but the Negro. So he could look like he could even look like, I did a lesson, a Martian, but they would worship that Martian. You know what I mean? But they would not worship, a Negro Messiah.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, because I didn't share this with you earlier, but like if you look in your backstage, you'll see I have a file here. Because it's just that he did motivate me a little bit, because I was actually working on my second book, Who Are the Biblical Israelites? And this is a book Most High willing will come out sometime in August. But I had that, because of that clip you just showed, Pastor Kelly, I had to add a little extra. I had to add a little extra to answer this question: was Jesus a black man? And family, it's important that you know that per history, the oldest picture or painting of, the person that they call Jesus, of course, like Pastor Kelly said, different names, but the person that they call Jesus is a black man. Like the very first picture that we have documented that is literally in this book, is Jesus being a black man. And then what I talk about is how it changed over time. Like, during that early 3rd century, 4th century, you start to see the changing of Jesus from being a black man to being a white European. So yeah, it's definitely worth revisiting. Like I said, I'm just glad you bringing it up tonight, Pastor Kelly.
Oh, I appreciate it. And then on the screen here, if you want to just touch on it here, and then feel free, because whenever I'm going through this, and if something that you want to interject, feel free to do so. But explain to the people about the Lachish that you have here on the screen here. I don't want to let the cat out the bag, but if you want to,
no, it's perfect. It's perfect. So yeah, the Lachish relief. I mean, that is another artifact that actually gives what I refer to as a high definition depiction of the tribe of Judah, like not just any Israel tribe, right? This is specifically the tribe of Judah, and as the Messiah is from the tribe of Judah. So this was around 701 BC. This is when King Sennacherib, the Assyrian king, he comes against he's coming against Jerusalem, but as he's making his way towards Jerusalem, he conquered, I think, roughly like 46 towns or cities or strongholds in the territory of Judah. And he gets to the city of Lachish, and the city of Lachish is like the second largest city in the territory of Judah. It's like, it's the fortification, the defense fortification, you can call it, or refer to it as that, for Jerusalem. And so he's taking this city on. He lays waste to it. After he conquers the city, he goes back. He authorizes these stone reliefs or monuments to be constructed to basically retell the battle of Lachish. Right? It shows it shows the approach of his army to the city. It shows the sieging of the city. It shows them sacking the city, and then it shows them it shows the aftermath. It shows them taking out the prisoners, marching them before Sennacherib, who's the king of Assyria, before his throne. And of course, the people that use, actually what I did was I actually did a cut and paste of one of the depictions of the ancient tribe of Judah on the front, page of this book. And that's what you see. I mean, they are depicted as a black Negroid people with woolly hair, like all the stuff that he was saying, like the pastor was saying, like this is already documented. This is already on the Lachish relief. This is the tribe that Christ was from, right? So the fact that he's saying that Jesus was not a black man, it goes against all sorts of artifacts, all sorts of history, and he's wrong on all accounts.
Absolutely. And real quick too, because I do know that you had asked AI to with the Lachish image that you had, you ran it through AI and allow AI to make it 3D, and how AI with its updates of the image making it 3D clearly showed and depicts them as being Negroes.
Yep. Yeah. AI just made it, translated it, like you said, Pastor Kelly, from 2D to 3D. And yeah, I mean, when it comes in 3D, you can see that it's a black man. So I would love to. I mean, I'm sure the Israelite community is responding to this, as a whole. But I would love to, have them try to refute this information that we have, because it is. I mean, it's literally irrefutable, right? I mean, either he's just going to totally ignore it, or I don't know, But it's there. It is there, and just need to bring it out.
Absolutely. And feel free, because as we as I build here, you know how we do. Anything you want to add to or mention, feel free to do so. Feel free to do so, because I know we're going to unpack a lot today or tonight, and I know just from hearing what you heard, I'm sure it triggered a number of things that you would like to add to what we're going to cover tonight, if that's all right.
Yep, that's perfect.
All right, so family, you see on the screen here. Let me go ahead and bring this back up, and again, cuz feel free to chime in. So this is going back to this presentation, he made mention that Jesus was an ethnic Jew, and I'm going to say this again, family. I know we all know what his ancient name is. All right, we know that his name is not Jesus, but for the sake of conversation, we're going to use the name Jesus. So I just want to make sure that some of you guys don't take the conversations way out in left field. We know what his name is, and we know what his name is not. All right. So let's not major in the minors. And for those that are in the chat, moderators, you guys know what to do. And family, you know what to do too. If there's any trolling with that stuff, just type in, listen with intelligence. Hallelujah. All right. So what is an ethnic Jew? What is an ethnic Jew? We're going to answer this question. What is an ethnic Jew? Well, let's see what this guy right here, Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO of the ADL. I think someone new took over, but he's still within the leadership, the board of the ADL. But nevertheless, let's see what he has to say about the Jew or Jewish community as being multiracial. This is, and I'm sure you guys probably remember this, when Whoopi Goldberg got into trouble per se with the 1948ers. You guys know that's the word I'm going to use to refer to this people, the 1948ers, and she made some statements about their parents and all that. I'm not going to get into that. I thought I had the video here, but Don't have the clip to present it to you guys, but nevertheless, this is what Jonathan Greenblatt posted on his Twitter page about the Jewish community. This is what he says. Additionally, Whoopi's comments show a complete lack of awareness of the multi-ethnic, multiracial makeup of the Jewish community. She needs to apologize immediately and actually commit to educating herself on the true nature of anti-Semitism. And so what she was saying that the whole situation with Adolf Hitler, basically, she was saying that it was not about race, and say basically in so little words, basically said they're the same race, they're the same people, but it was about, as she pointed out, hatred towards humanity. But she was like, hey, they the same people, they part of the same race. So Jonathan Greenblatt's response to that, again, was saying here, Whoopi's comments show a complete lack of awareness of multi-ethnic, multiracial makeup of the Jewish community. She needs to apologize immediately and actually commit to educating herself on the true nature of anti-Semitism. So it's a couple of things that he said here. He said multiracial. Man, what is multiracial? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. Let's define it here. This is coming from the Oxford Dictionary. Let's see what it says about multiracial. It says, made up of or relating to people of several racial or ethnic groups. Wait a minute, that should be a red flag right there. He said that the Jewish community is multiracial and multi-ethnic. So multiracial, again, is made up of or relating to people of several racial or ethnic groups. So when did the word Jew become associated with ancient Israel? Glad you guys asked that question. Now look at this. This is coming from the Jewish Almanac. This is their source. Jewish Almanac 1980. Look at what it says about the word Jew. It says, strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew, or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. The first Hebrews may not have been Jews at all. So, and it says the same about the Palestinians. And for those that really don't understand the term Palestinians, which is supposed to be the Philistines, right? The original Philistines, they're Hamitic people. Look it up. They're descendants of Ham. All right. But we know that the Romans came up with this name Palestine. But anyway, not getting into all that, we want to focus on the 1948ers, right? So we see here, they're making it clear that that word Jew, in a nutshell, should not be used in conjunction with the ancient Israelites, which should make you think about this clip that I play all the time. I do it purposely, because I want to make sure you guys understand the deception here. This clip right here, they make a distinction between an ancient Israelite and a contemporary or modern day Jew. Here it is.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time, all that he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews?
All right, just had to bring out the garbage can. All right. So in their own source here, they make a distinction between a Jew, when it says contemporary, that's modern, and an Israelite, as it starts off by saying an ancient Israelite. So there's a difference between an ancient Israelite and a contemporary Jew. So that word should not even be used synonymously with the word, with the ancient Israelites. It should not even be used synonymously with all of Israel. I know that's one of those words, just like the word church, just like the word Jesus. I know that these are some of the words that people struggle to let go because many want to say we're the original Jews. Truth be told, no, we're not, because that word was created, started its conception in the English, Old English in the 12th century. And then by the time you get to the 17th century, it's when they put the J on it, changed the spelling of it, and began to attach to it the agenda of creating an identity and attaching it for the 1948ers. All right. Any comments, Benaya, as I continue?
Well, if I can find my mute button. Yeah, no, actually, while you were going, Pastor Kelly, because that's actually a perfect point, because remember, like, so we just had our conference down in Savannah, Georgia, with First African Baptist Church, and that church, of course, they have their history and their ties to, Israel, to our people being identified as Israel. And one of the points that we pointed out was that when the church self-identified, with Israel, I mean, to your point, Pastor Kelly, they didn't self-identify as Jews. They self-identified as fathers and mothers in Israel. Even what I was trying to do was I was trying to pull up that history book of the church, and I think I just got it up. But I was almost got to the organizational part where it shows the organizations that the church members were a part of, and some of those organizations were Israelite organizations, like I think it's like the daughters of the children of Israel, or the sons of the children of Israel. But what they do not have in there, or what they did not identify with, to Pastor Kelly's point, they did not identify as Jews. So that goes right along with how we identified, when our people came out of slavery in this country.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nail. And real quick, I see a couple more super chats here. I want to say shout outs to James Mitchell. Appreciate the super chat. Blessings, family, and Pastor Kelly. I will always support you for teaching truth, but please don't refer to Phil as a pastor, because he's not. He's a liar. And I'll just say this, I'm not caught up in the title, because the scriptures makes it clear that you have pastors that are leading Yah's people to the slaughter. The scripture talks about that. So you could have the title of a pastor, but the question is, are you a good pastor, or are you a bad pastor? Are you a good elder, or are you a bad elder? Are you a good bishop, or are you a bad bishop? Are you a good minister, or are you a bad minister? So I understand your position, but regardless, he's false. As far as what he's teaching is false. I'll just go there. What he's teaching is false. So I understand where you're going at with it, but again, just like Israelites, right? You have Israelites that rebel, that are rebels, and you have the Israelites that are the true remnant. So it doesn't change the fact that we're Israelites, bloodline Israelites, contrary to what many in the church have taken Paul's letters out of context. All right. But anyway, really appreciate the super chat. Thank you for the love and support. Definitely understand your position. Let's see here. Daughter of Yah, really appreciate the love and support. So family, let's go ahead and show some love for Daughter of Yah. Thank you again for the super chat. James Mitchell, also Dion Jones, really appreciate it. And lastly, Cheryl Steele, thank you for the love and support. Let's show some love for them. And also I see my cousin in the building, Bishop Brown with Boom. I want to say peace and blessings to you, Bishop, and feel free if you want to jump on as I progress through this lesson. If you want to give shout outs to the people. So I'll drop the link inside the comment section if you choose to log in. All right. Any other things, Benai, as we get ready to continue?
Well, I was able to find those organizations that our people, like I said, coming out of slavery, join as part, as far as them being a part of First African Baptist Church down in Savannah. And this is just to reiterate the fact what Pastor Kelly was bringing out, and that is our people did not identify as Jews. Our people identified as Israelites, and we can find that even in the groups and the associations that are that our ancestors or cousins were a part of. Like, for instance, with First African Baptist Church, they were a part of, and I just pulled it up here, the Children's Israelite Society. So again, it's Israelite, not Jews. Or the other group that they were part of was the Young Ladies Select Branch of Israelite Society. Again, as Israelite, not Jews. So that's important to take away from that. And it's also important to know that these Israelite societies, or these Israelite groups, came into creation for the most part right after emancipation. So right after 1863, 1865, all of a sudden you start to see these Israelite groups start getting spun up. And I do cover this in my book that's coming out. But it's it's one of those things where you see that once the shackles came off, we started exercising or sharing our name with the world, in the form of these organizational names.
I appreciate it. And family, even in the history of the First African Baptist Church, as Benaiah pointed out, they make reference to themselves as being Israelites. You'll see Father in Israel. You even have a troublemaker in Israel, within their own published book on the history of the assembly. And they definitely refer to themselves as being Israelites. As Benaiah pointed out, there's even a plaque on the wall that has Father in Israel on it. And so let me see here real quick. Let me give this super chat person a shout out before we continue. And I see Bishop in the building, so I'll bring him on here. Kahalia, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Forgive me if I mispronounce your name, but it looks like Kahalia or Alihi. I'm not trying to butcher it. My apologies. Blame Benaiah, but I'm just joking with you, Benaiah. But yeah, my apologies. But thank you for the super chat. And family, let's show some love for Kahalia for the super chat. All right. And Bishop Brown, I see you here. Bishop Brown, I see you in the backstage here. I'm gonna bring you on as we could continue to progress here. Anything you want to say, and feel free, like with Benaiah Israel, if you want to chime in as I give this lesson, feel free to do so.
Hallelujah. Well, Shabbat Shalom to everybody. I just wanted to jump on really quick and say peace and blessings to everyone that's in the chat. Doing an awesome job. We're actually here in Eastman for our Southern Region men and young men's lock-in conference weekend. So we're here watching you as well, watching the lesson. So I just wanted to jump on and let you know that we were definitely checking you out, checking everything out. But someone asked about immersions. We'll be doing that on the 27th of July. They can just reach out to me here. We'll be doing it here in Georgia, outside of Atlanta. But other than that, cuz I think both of you are doing a great job. I think I have to add in the commentary. We're just sitting back, checking out the lesson and enjoying the lesson, and may the Most High continue to be with y'all. Both of you, give you the grace and the wisdom to dissect everything.
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Shabbat Shalom to you as well, Bishop. And I believe the person in the chat is Ivan David Tooks, that's looking to be emerged. So Ivan, brother Ivan, just reach out. And Bishop Brown, if you could just drop the link to Boom inside the chat, whatever information you want to share, any other things you want to share with about the ministry, or for any others that may be looking to be purified, to be emerged.
Not as of right now. I know we'll be having some feasts coming up, but also I definitely want to tell everybody to look out soon. I know me and Pastor Kelly, we've been talking behind the scenes about having some gatherings in other locations, and of course Benaiah, if he's available, Cub can join us as well. So be on the lookout for that in your city. But if you're in Georgia or in Atlanta or near Atlanta, you want to be immersed or baptized, definitely feel free to hit us up. You can also check out our website. I'll put everything in the chat. That way I don't have to say it. But that's about it, because I really appreciate both of you, all the work that you do. I love and respect that, the Most High has given all of us the grace, all three of us, all four of us, including Jerry, to function in the lanes that we function in, and we all also can come together and form like Voltron. And it's an awesome thing to see how everything work together and come together. But blessings to both of you, man, and y'all keep doing what y'all doing. And I'm gonna sit back and just enjoy the teaching, because at the same time, people don't understand that as leaders, we need to be fed too. You know, we pour out and share and sacrifice a lot of study and time. And cause you remember the times when me and you up, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning here hitting the laptop, and stuff like that, doing these lessons or preparing for these lessons. So all that they see, they don't understand the time and work that they put in to put together these lessons that but now you do. So blessings to you, and I'm gonna jump back in the chat and sit back and watch.
And one last thing, Bishop Brown, don't forget to make sure you freshen up with that ammonia. Family, that's an inside joke.
You gotta tell Benay about that.
Yep.
Hey, now instead of immersions, they're gonna take baths.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right. Shalom, man. I'll talk to y'all later.
Hey, appreciate you, Bishop. Thank you. Peace and
All
blessings
right.
to you. Oh,
Shalom,
hey, Bishop. You also mentioned that we need to be fed, and I know you're down there in Eastman. So if you could tell, was it Bishop or Pastor Baxter? Yeah, Pastor Baxter, to save me a plate because we need to be fed, like the Bishop said.
Well, we definitely gonna make sure we say you'll be teaching down here for trumpet. So you'll definitely be able to get your plate down here in middle Georgia, Eastman, Georgia, and we got to get Kelly down here too. So yeah, definitely, man.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, appreciate it, Bishop, and we'll definitely connect. You know how we do offline over the weekend. So tell the men shout outs from PFR. Man, that's great, man. I love it, man, when I hear things that the men coming together. But give our love and our shalom, our peace to the men that are there with you. Really appreciate all that you do.
I can't forget my sister Kara. Shalom to her as well too. So bless to you and the whole family. All right, I'm about to jump off here, y'all. Be blessed.
Absolutely.
Right.
Shout outs to Sister Carol in the building, Berean Scholar, and also my buddy Jay Highstyle. All right. So family, continuing on here again, as you see here, this is coming from the Jewish Almanac. Let me read it again. It says here, a brief history of the terms for Jew. All right. Page 3, strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. The first Hebrews may not have been Jews at all. Okay. So what is an Israeli? This is another key word that we have to focus on as well. Israeli, there's a reason why you hear them the 1948ers refer to themselves as Israelis. There's a reason for that. Well, I'm glad you guys asked. Let's break this down. Let's see what this word means. This is coming from the etymology dictionary online. And look at what it says here. Israeli, citizen of the state of Israel. Let me say that again. Citizen of the state of Israel. 1948. From Israel plus Hebrew national designation, suffix "di." It goes on to say, also used in English as the adjective. But look at this. This is where I really want you guys to make a note of. It distinguishes the citizens of the modern state from the ancient people. Let me say that again. This word Israeli distinguishes the citizens of the modern state from the ancient people. So they make it clear that they are not the ancient people. And let me play a quick clip that's going to confirm this. You guys know some of these clips that I play, but I do this for a reason. Repetition is very important. But listen to this right here. Listen to this.
That's what the Zionists did, except instead of a baseball team, they went to try to convince the Jews that the Jewish people are a nation, like France and like Spain. We'll get a land, that's Israel, that's our stadium. will get baseball bats and balls, will create a language. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language. They sat down to create a language.
They sat down to create a language.
All right. So he made it clear that they created a language because the key that they wanted to create a nation. They literally created a nation. And the goal was not to restore the ancient Israel, the territories and all. It was to create what is called the Jewish state, the new Jewish state. All right. So again, Israeli, citizen of the state of Israel, distinguishes the citizens of the modern state from the ancient people. All right. So I want to make sure you guys understand. So when you hear that word Israeli, they are making it clear who are the original and who are not the original. So when you hear the word Israeli, simply means that you are born, you can be born in the territory of Israel, but you're not indigenous to there. You're not, they know that they are not indigenous to the area. All right, so let's continue here. So the name Israeli distinguishes the citizens of the modern state from the ancient people, the true ancient Israelites, okay? So here's an example of multiracial. This is an example of it. All right, let me do it again. This is an example. This is an illustration of multicultural, multi-ethnic. This is it, multiracial. Now the question is, how can they all be Jews? They all look different. They look completely different. Okay. How is multiracial possible? Well, we're going to explain it here. Multiracial, it's possible only through what is called genetic distances by way of conversion. Let me say that again, because I'm going to go a little geeky on you, right? It's possible only through what is called genetic distances by way of conversion. Now, I know you guys like, Pastor, you're going to have to go a little geek mode. Explain this. Well, I'm going to explain this. What is genetic distances? This is coming from the origin of Ashkenazi Jewry, the controversy unraveled by Jit Van Straten. And I encourage you guys, get this book. Get this book. All right. So genetic distances. A large part of the study, and this is breaking down the study of genetic distances, was devoted not just to genetic distances, but other formulas that the 1948ers used to try to justify who they are. So a large part of the study was devoted to the determination of genetic distances between the different populations. Through this method, genetic markers from different Jewish populations are compared. The smaller the relationship, the more differences in DNA may have arisen. Such differences are called distances. So 75, in other words, white populations, based on 9 markers, the genetic distance analysis showed that Eastern European Jews were closest to the inhabitants of Thrace, the region shared by Bulgaria, Greece, and Turkey. Bulgarian Jews came next, followed by 36 non-Jewish populations. And only then, the second Jewish population, the Iranian Jews. Other results showed a large Italian component in the gene pool. In other words, total variety of genes in a population of the East European Jews. From all these results, look at what it says here. From all these results, it appears genetically the different Jewish communities do not have much in common. Let me read that again. Genetically, the different Jewish communities, because you have the Beta Israel, which is the Ethiopians that's over there, right? And then you have the Ashkenazis, you have the it's Polish Jews and all this other stuff, but you have Asian Jews. So it's saying here, genetically, the different Jewish communities do not have much in common. often they appear to be more related to the population in the midst of which they live when its genetic material is available. So what this is saying is converts. That's what this is saying. This is a geeky way, academic genetic analysis from that perspective, saying that they are converts. All right. So anything you want to share, Benai, as I continue here?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things we pointed out before where we said that, we know that Israel has one father, Jacob, right? Or the 12 tribes of Israel have one father, Jacob. And so when we look at DNA and we look at the Y chromosome, so that's the chromosome that's passed down from father to son, that all 12 tribes should have a single Y chromosome to point back to. But according to these, DNA studies and tests that they're, doing against these communities, they're finding out that, well, wait a minute, you guys have multiple fathers. You have multiple Y chromosomes, or Y haplogroups is what, the scientific term, which means that, to your point, what you just pointed out, wait a minute, you guys aren't related. You're coming from different populations, different, points of origin. So you can't be, according to the Bible, you can't be the children of Israel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And family, that's why we're sharing this with you. And that's why it's so important. So remember, at one time, DNA was so important. But once we start, when I say we, this awakening started pointing out the DNA, showing that, hey, wait a minute, it's showing that we're the people of the book. It's showing that we have a connection to the ancient people. Then all of a sudden, oh, you can't trust the DNA. You guys heard that before, So nevertheless, that's what genetic distances is. That's their way of trying to explain why you see all these multi-racial, these multicultural or cultures or ethnic groups coming together, because all of that is done by way of conversion, as Benaiah pointed out when he dealt with the Kohanim modal, right? That's trying to determine, they tried to determine that they found the gene, the priestly gene, right? As if the DNA Y chromosome is going to be different for Levi versus the rest of his brethren. And DNA does not work that way. Only way you're going to see a different mutation is if there's a conversion along the way. Someone converted over to the family or adopted, right? That was not within the bloodline. But nevertheless, and we'll get there as well. I think I have some of that in here as well. So what is a Jew according to the law of return? So let's bring up the law of return so we can understand this, right? And this is very important for you guys to understand. Look at here. This is from the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Law of return, 5710, 1950. And let's see what it says here. It says, for the purpose of this law, Jew means a person who was born of a Jewish mother or has become converted to Judaism and who is not a member of another religion. Now, let me tell you how this works, because I have some sources here. I didn't put it, I don't think I placed them here, showing that the women, the 1948ers women, their own sources make it clear that they are converts, right? So nevertheless, this says here, born to a Jewish mother. So what happens is those, let's just say the first generation of women convert to becoming a Jew by way of practicing Judaism. So they convert over to becoming a Jew by way of Judaism. So then their offsprings moving forward would be deemed a Jew because they were born to a Jewish mother. But that first generation, even have the sources to prove it from their own words. And I encourage you guys to watch the blotted out video I did that explains all of this. So that's how it works. So this is making it clear, right? All of this is dealing with conversion. And let me play the clip that I play all the time. I purposely play certain clips all the time so that way it resonates. So listen to what he says here about what it means to be a Jew.
You can convert to Judaism. You can't convert to a blood family. You cannot convert to a race. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
All right. So he's making it clear, right? That's all what it means to be a Jew is practicing a religion called Judaism. Basically, it's like interchangeably, similar to the Christians, right? They're practicing Christianity or Catholicism, and they're called what? Christians. All right. So listen to one other thing, and I'm gonna play this, and I'm not sure if you guys caught this in one of the latest videos that I've played, but listen to what he says also about religion. Listen to what he says.
The religion created the Jewish people. The definition of a Jewish person is somebody who is transformed by receiving the Torah.
Did y'all catch that? He said the religion created the Jewish people. Let me say that again. Did you catch that, Benaiah?
Yeah.
He said it was the religion that created the Jewish people. Let me play it one more time. And I hope Pastor Phillips is watching this, right? Or someone that's connected to him, because I would love to have dialogue with him to show him that he's completely wrong. Not to, as a way of pumping my chest out or nothing like that. I don't get down like that, but just to show him that he's wrong, that he's caught up in a delusion. But listen to this one more time, family.
The religion created the Jewish people. The definition of a Jewish person is somebody who is transformed by receiving the Torah.
So he said religion created the Jewish people, confirming what I just explained to you about the law of return or what it means to be a Jew. It's the first generation is someone who converted or became a Jew by practicing Judaism. Then their offsprings from that point on, born to a Jewish mother, would be considered what? A Jew. All right. So let's continue, family. Just thought I'd play that clip here so that way you can hear their own words explain what I just explained. So according to the law of return, a Jew is a person born to a Jewish woman. The Ashkenazi Jewish women are proven to be of European origins. This further proves that they are European converts. Now, going back into here, the origin of Ashkenazi Jewry, going back to the source, look at what it says. This is about the Levitical priests, the Kohanim that Benaiah alluded to. 3 key criticisms of the testing that completely debunk the so-called Kohanim. This is coming from the source, debunking that whole testing that they put together. Look at what it says here. The populations studied are defined wrongly. The term Sephardic Jews being used for North African Jews, right? Sephardic Jews are Jews whose ancestors were expelled from Spain in 1492. Now this is, and I'm working on a part 2 to blot it out, and I'm sharing sources about that term Sephardic. Guess who created the term Sephardic Jews? It was the Ashkenazis who created the term Sephardic. And I'm going to go into the details of that. So it says here, Sephardic Jews are Jews whose ancestors were expelled from Spain in 1492. We know the true people who was expelled from Spain in 1492. And so when one of the key territories that they were, sent to, expelled to, was Sao Tome, which is called St. Thomas, which is just below the Gold Coast in West Africa. All right. So it says here, Zussman Diskin suspects that the author used the term Sephardic as it is used in Israel by religious politicians, a terminology that has nothing to do with science. It's all politics, family. So look at here, Skorecki et al. Used the chi-square test to differentiate between laymen and Kohanim. So as North African Jews are an aggregate population, in other words, composed of genetically different populations. So you see here is going back and saying that you have different, basically genetics. People that are separated genetically, not the same. That's where you get into genetic distances. But it goes on to say, show that Jews differs significantly genetically from Libyan to Tunisian Jews. Conclusions from the chi-square test are not justified. So the conclusion about the Jewish priest, this is what it says. The study of the Jewish priest contains an inconsistency. We see the following: Jacob and 12 sons, who of course had the same Y chromosome. One of these sons, we have the following descent. It says this. Let me say it again. Of one of these sons, we have the following descent: Levi, Kohath, Amram, Moses, and Aaron. Both Moses and Aaron, forefathers of the priests, therefore had the same Y chromosome as Jacob, and thus the same as the remaining sons of Jacob in their male progeny. Excuse me, I'm butchering my words tonight. But it goes on to say here, why would today's priests have a different and the same Y chromosome from all other Jews unless laymen are, to a large extent, descendants of converts? So it's stating what we just pointed out. The only way you would have different Y chromosome mutations, like R1b is one of the ones that you see, that is a European mutation, right? How would you see what reason would they have all these different, or what would be the answer as to why they have all these different Y haplogroups? And that's because descendants of converts. Going back to Greenblatt, when he pointed out that they are multiracial and multi-ethical. And that's the only way you can have that that can be possible. So what is an ethnic Jew? All right, real quick, Benaiah, did you have anything you want to share?
Well, I mean, just to your point, it's like they know that they're not the people of the book, and it goes back to even to the beginning of your, or I guess it wasn't the beginning, but in part of your presentation where you were talking about, like the name Israeli, right? How it talked Israeli tied back to the state of Israel. You won't find the state of Israel in your Bible. They were called, they refer to themselves as the nation, but they don't refer to themselves as the nation. They refer to themselves as a state, right? And even you even pulled up Jewish, and that Jewish means Jew-like. And then you also brought up the point about even the terminology Jew, and we also land back on that and just showed that the children of Israel did not refer to themselves as Jews. Like, so it's like all these different, so that's like 3 points right there that point to them not being the people, and that they know that they're not being the people because it's embedded in the names, it's embedded in even in the territory that they occupy. So this is great information.
Oh, appreciate it, Benaiah, appreciate it. And family, hit those get those thumbs up. Let's hit the like and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. And if you are, or believe that you are still subscribed, double check and make sure that you are still subscribed, because YouTube does remove subscribers. And Benaiah can attest, we've had 20,000+ subscribers removed from our channels, right? So just double check this to make sure that you still are subscribed. All right. But nevertheless, this is going back. This is his quote again. He said, and this is Pastor Philip Mitchell. He said, Jesus was not a black man. He was an ethnic Jew and had skin like brass and hair like wool. So let's break this down, family. Let's break this down. Let's start with this question. Why was Joseph mistaken for an Egyptian? Why was Joseph mistaken for an Egyptian? And I'm going to piggyback off of some information as we answer that question, starting with, was Abraham a Negro? Was Abraham a Negro? So answering this question starts with the Chaldees. Let's see who the Chaldees were. This is coming from Anacalypse, an attempt to draw aside the veil of the Sadic Eses Volume 2. Excuse me if I butcher that name there. But anyway, by Godfrey Higgins, 1836. Look at what he says about Abraham, or should I say about the Chaldees. He says this: in consequence of the prejudice, for it is really prejudice against the Negro, or I ought rather to say, against the possibility of a Negro being learned and scientific, arising from an acquaintance with the present Negro character. I admit, with great difficulty, the theory of all the early astronomical knowledge of the Chaldees, having been acquired or invented by his race, and that the Chaldees were originally Negroes. Do you see that on your screen, family? It says the Chaldees were originally Negroes. But this prejudice wears away when I go to the precursors of the Brahmins and the Buddhists, and when I reflect upon the skill in the fine arts, which they must have possessed when they executed the beautiful and most ancient sculptures in the museums of the India House, and the knowledge of astronomy shown in the cycles of the stones. But it goes on to say, and etc., it goes on to say that the Buddhists were Negroes. The icons of the god clearly proves. Oh, that's a lot of information, family. But he clearly states, let's backtrack this a little bit, that the Chaldees were originally Negroes. Let me say that one more time, that the Chaldees were originally Negroes. Okay, so why was Joseph mistaken for an Egyptian? Let's go to Exodus chapter 1, verse 11 through 14. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service and the field. All their service wherein they made them serve with rigor. Now, this is a source I want you to make a note of. Picture history of Jewish civilization. Well, Pastor, why are you bringing this up? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. Look at this. This is on page 9. What does it say here? Oh, let's highlight this paragraph here. It says here, the ancestors of the ancient Hebrews were Semitic nomads wandering across the sun-baked plains in the upper Euphrates in the vicinity of Haran in search of grazing lands and water. But they were not alone. Other peoples seeking similar means of substance, as well as men who lived by the sword, forced them farther and fan her away from their original terrain and what is now north central Syria. The relentless struggle for survival in the land of the two rivers, Mesopotamia, thrust them far to the south. Eventually, they came in sight of the great city of Ur of Chaldees. The great city of Ur of the Chaldees, 55 miles southeast of Haran. That sounds familiar. Ur of Chaldees. That should ring a bell to many of you guys that are watching. Well, let's unpack this more. The thousands of war captives who were transformed into slaves, because we confirmed that Abraham was Negro. We've confirmed that the Chaldees are Negroes, but we're going to deal with some additional information to prove who the Israelites are. And Benaiah, feel free to jump in, because I know we getting ready to go to a key part of what you pointed out with the Lachish, all right? Or Lakesh, excuse me. So The thousands of war captives who were transformed into slaves made it possible for the Egyptian king to implement their feats of engineering. Chained captives are shown on these painted clay facing from a building erected by Ramses II in honor of the king's brave warriors from the periods of the what is that, the 19th dynasty. All right, but let me rewind this here. Look at some of the paintings here. Look at the artwork here. Look at the images here. Look at let me zoom that in so you guys can see. Do those look like Ashkenazis? Or should I say 1948ers? What do you think, Benaiah?
No, it's consistent. It's consistent with the other paintings and pictures and frescoes in the area.
I mean, look at the hair. Do you see the 1948ers hair like this? Okay, family. So let's go to this another paragraph right here, describing the images below here. The upper row of the painting from the tomb of Nat at Thebes shows workmen gathering and pressing grapes. Let me rewind that. That's what this is referring to. Let's zoom in and see how these people look. Now remember, we come in all shades of brown. We come in all different shades of brown. And look at what you see here. So the upper row of the paintings from the tomb of Nat at Thebes shows workmen gathering and pressing grapes. The wine was stored in tapered jugs, which bore inscriptions indicating the year, kind of wine, vineyard, proprietor in the vineyard, and the vine dresser. The bottom row shows a hunter with a snare. That's what you see what is shown below here. All right. All right, but let's continue. Let's see these. Read this right here at the bottom here. Let's read this here. The captions here. It says, "Model of a granary. Taxes are paid in produce, and the wheat collected in the way was stored in state granaries scattered throughout Egypt. At the right, the taskmaster, stick in hand, stands over the people to supervise their work. At the lower right, a clerk records the number of sacks of wheat being stored in the granary." So this is the image that is being described. Now, family, do that look like the 1948ers? This actually looks like the original Israelites that you saw in the video that I played. I don't have the video here. I should have had it to share with you guys of the 1925 video of the Israelites, right? You see that they look just like this. So let's look at this again. It says here, taxes were paid in produce, and wheat collected in the way was stored in a state granary scattered throughout Europe. At the right, the taskmaster with the stick in hand. Now let's see here. You see the taskmaster with the stick in the hand. All right. Then it goes on to say, the lower right, a clerk records the number of sacks of wheat being stored. And we see here, that's the clerk recording the wheat that is being stored in the granary. But let's zoom in so you can see the people. Look at the hair. Look at the complexion. All right. Let's go to the next page here. The Egyptian became familiar with the horse and wagon after the victory of the Hyksos, in the beginning of the long period of the rule of the Asiatic peoples in the land of the pharaohs. This painting on a coffin shows Tutankhamun shooting his enemies from a chariot from the tomb of Tutankhamun. All right, so That's what this is sharing here. This is what I'm reading here. All right. But look at who he's fighting here. Let's zoom this in. Let me see if I had the picture here. No, that's the picture right here. I thought I had a larger picture. Who is he fighting here? Who is he fighting, family? All right. Oh, there it is. I did have it here. Who is he fighting? All right. Here's another picture. Plenty of receipts, family. We just have to know where to go. Look at here. Motto of a bakery. Bread was a staple in Egypt. There were bakeries in which one man milled the flour, another kneaded, and a third brought the bread to the oven. The entire operation was directed by the man sitting in the rear. So these are all Israelites. That's the point I want to make sure you understand. This is giving you the images of the Israelites. Any comments, Benaiah?
Well, just trying to wait till you got to a good point there, because I love what you're doing, Pastor Kelly, because what you're pointing out is that the relationship, between Israel and Egypt goes back a very long time, very far back, right? And they knew what Israel looked like. I mean, basically what you're pointing out that black, brown, mahogany people, and it's represented in all these different forms, frescoes, statues, all that sort of stuff. And then also when you bring it forward, because one of the things I was waiting for you to get to part in your presentation where I have some pictures of the Coptic church. So, if you bring it forward to, what pastor was that pastor at that church was talking about, how, Jesus isn't black and all this other stuff. What I wanted to show you is that there's certain places that even after, the Gentiles started to try to flip the image of Christ from black to white, that there were some places that held on to, the Messiah being black. And one of those places was exactly what you're pointing out, Pastor Kelly, and that is Egypt. The Coptic church in Egypt, you can find frescoes of Israel being black. And let me see if I have it right here. Oh man, I think I may have switched it out. Oh no, I think I still have it. But yeah, if you get a chance, Pastor Kelly, I think what you'll see in the back, on the backstage, is a picture of the Coptic church fresco, and it's basically a fresco of the church. And when you take a look at it, family, you'll see that they represented the children of Israel as black. Now, let me see if I can zoom in. I don't know if, yeah, there you go. But as black, brown, swarthy people. So to Pastor Kelly's point, not only did they represent Israel as black, brown, swarthy, hundreds, if not over 1,000 years ago, but even during the time of the Hamashiach, a little bit afterwards, they were still showing them as black, brown, swarthy people. So this is in Egypt, same place, different time, same people, right? Same depiction. And then just one other quick thing, family, just wanted to point out to you is that, because in the presentation, Pastor Kelly also talked about, he read about the Euphrates. So over, this is as far as where they were. You saw that, they were over in the Euphrates area. Well, also over in the Euphrates area is this place called Dura Europa. Dura Europa. It is literally right next to the Euphrates. And the importance of Dura Europa is, this is what our pastor, our brother at that church needs to understand. I really hope he understands this. Is that is Dura Europa is the location of the oldest known painting of the Messiah. I'll say it again. Dura Europa is the location of the oldest known painting of the Messiah. It is in Syria, and it is right next to the Euphrates. And the painting looks like this. This is the oldest painting of the Messiah. And as you can tell, I apologize. It's might be a little bit blurry on your screen, but what you will not see is blue eyes, blonde hair. you see a brown skinned person with black hair. And the thing is, family, is that, and we were talking about, Pastor Kelly mentioned Lakesh earlier on, and he literally has the face, or he literally looks like the Lakesh relief, like the images that you see on the Lakesh relief of the children of Judah. He looks like that, right? But this is just a different, flatter 2D version of the Lakesh relief. And the last thing I'll say on this, Pastor Kelly, and that is if you look at reproductions of this, because it's interesting, because Harvard took this, right? Like, during Europa, they tried to get their hands on this fresco, but they couldn't really do it. So what they did was that they went back to Harvard and they remade this. And you know what they did when they remade it? They took out the black.
Absolutely. They're going to do that. Yeah.
Man, because that's how and that's what I learned in doing this research, family, is like, when you're doing the research, you always have to find the original, because what they'll do, and they'll do this on the sly, they will remake that picture, take out the black, and then post it as the original. And like, this is one of those paintings that they did that. And even in Dura Europa, I had planned on doing a video on this at some point, but in the Dura Europa, it is literally, I think they call it like it's like a chapel, a church location, but they had a different name for it. But when you walk in there and you look at the people have taken pictures and videos inside of it, what you'll see is that you can tell where people kind of put their hands on stuff. Like at the very bottom level, where things that are at arm's length, at the height level, all those pictures have the black taken out of it. But the paintings up high, up top, near the top, they are still black. They are still black. Most High willing, we'll do a video on that. But yeah, it's there. I just wanted to show you that this is the oldest picture of the Messiah, and it is black. So when that pastor gets up and yells loud in his microphone talking about Christ wasn't black, I hate to say it, but it's a flat out liar, because it started with this, and then it went to this. It went to this. This wasn't first. This was first. First painting. This was third, fifth, second, third. Right. But just wanted to drive that point home, family. Like, just looking at the archaeology, the paintings themselves, the oldest picture of the Messiah is a black man.
And because go back to that other one, that picture you just showed as they whited out.
This one?
No, you just had it up there. Because I have the original picture. I didn't put it in this presentation. Not that one. Go to the other one. That one.
Okay.
The original picture doesn't look like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They take out the color. That's what they do.
The original picture doesn't look like that. And the other thing to add to, family, what you'll notice, especially with the Russian icons, you could when they paint over them, their heads look deformed because they're painting over the afros. In many cases, that's why you see the heads look funny, because they're painting over it and trying to make compensate, incorporate the afros into the way that they try to white it out and all of that. So that's why their heads and all that look deformed.
Yeah, and you can also tell too, like anytime a picture has this circle, like this sun disk behind it, like that's a later painting. You can tell, like that's a painting that wasn't around, or that came after the time of, way after the time of the Messiah. And then also too, family, like you see this sun disk behind him, like, yeah, you can tell this just without even looking at the picture. You can tell this sun disk, all right, this one's way after the time of the Messiah. That's when they started adding that stuff into, even I think the Coptic church started doing some of that stuff too. Yeah, you can see it there as well. But the original, this one, no sun disk behind this one. And then I kept, hey, go back on my word. Another comment on this one too, family, is during this time. So this picture was created, I believe, at 235 AD. So 235 AD, this painting was created. The descriptions of the Messiah during this time are deleted, is gone, erased. And so that's how people can kind of get away with saying, well, the Messiah was this color, that color. And that's because during this time when they were doing this transition or trying to make this transition, all for the most part, the descriptions of the Messiah were removed or deleted or suppressed. But that's it, Pascal. I just wanted to land back on, because you were going over some great information about Egypt and Euphrates. I was like, woo, Pastor Kelly must have been on my computer.
Now, you know how we do. You know how we do, especially when you have someone with the size platform that he has, the influence that he has, we have to have our ducks in a row. You know what I mean? We have to show the sources that we know that they cannot refute.
Right.
And I believe that we are in that information age, that point of the information age, that we should be able to show sources on anything that we're touching on, that whatever things that we may declare, we should have sources to confirm it. And when you show the receipts, so to speak, it's hard for them to refute the receipts. You know what I mean? They'll try to go at the individual. That's the playbook. Demonize the person because you can't go against the information.
Right.
But yeah, definitely appreciate it, Benaiah. Great information. And family, make a note of that. And he do have a book coming out pretty soon. So be on the lookout for it. It's going to be nothing but geek mode information. All right. So as you see here, family, as Benaiah pointed out, matter of fact, let me bring my screen back up. Great information, Benaiah. Great information. All right. So you see here, you cannot deny it, and these are images of the Israelites. These are Israelites, right? And this picture here is, let me zoom it in. This picture, or not picture, these images are at the Egyptian Museum in Turin. All right, these images are there. Okay. So why was Joseph mistaken for an Egyptian? I forgot to answer that question. This is Amenhotep. Look at the image of him, right? We don't see these images, Benaiah. They don't show us these images in school.
Right.
This is Queen Tai, mother of Akhenaten, grandmother of Tut. We don't see these images. This is another image of Queen Tai. So why was Joseph mistaken for an Egyptian? You guys, look at here. We don't see this image of Nefertiti, Tari, 18th dynasty Moses. We don't see this image of her. And this is her servant, Dame Odami Ray, nursemaid to Queen Moses Nefertari. Come on, family. We don't see these images. So are there any other proof that the Egyptian skin complexion was very dark? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. Anthro Notes, National Museum of Natural History newsletter for teachers. Oh, wait a minute. It said for teachers? Right? That's right. They know, family. These educators know. 1979, volume 1. Look at this, family. Look at this. Let's see what it says in here. Page 1. Who were the ancient Egyptians? Should the origins of their magnificent achievement be sought in the Middle East or in Africa? Were they themselves white or black? These questions have been disputed by scholars since the beginning of written history. Most recently, anthropological studies of human remains from Northeast Africa, together with new archaeological evidence from Egypt and Nubia, offers a new understanding of Egyptian origins in which Africa played the major role. All right, so a view in Africa, Africa and Egypt, pre-1945 views. Look at this here, going back to the source. In in the section that says Africa and Egypt pre-1945 views. And man, I should have uploaded that video because I do have a video of 1925 Egypt, right? But anyway, early writers described the Egyptians as dark-skinned and woolly hair. Herodotus, whose origins and a close ties to the ancient people and cultures of Ethiopia. Then we see Diodorus of Sicily, Strabo. It goes on to say, in the 18th century, ancient Egyptian civilization was rediscovered by travelers and plunderers from Europe, whose view of the ancient Egyptians was drawn largely from Egyptian art. In the absence of scientific archaeology or a code for deciphering hieroglyphic writing, after viewing the undamaged profile of the Sphinx, and the French author de Volney describes as Negro in all its features, wrote, "Just think that this race of black men today, our slave and the object of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our art, sciences, and even the use of speech." Let me read that again. Described as Negro in all its features, he wrote, "Just think that the race of black men today, our slave and the object of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our art, sciences, and even the use of speech. Just imagine finally that it is in the midst of peoples who call themselves the greatest friends of liberty and humanity that one has approved the most barbarous slavery and questioned whether black men have the same kind of intelligence as whites." So again, why was Joseph mistaken for an Egyptian? And before I go on, let me play a couple of videos. You guys know I like to play videos, right? I got to have some clips to support what we just pointed out. Let me play this clip of this professor shocked at what he discovered about an Egyptian high up. I think he was a politician or whatever. But look at how the scientists respond when he find out he was a Negro. Look at this.
But the CT scan has one more surprise for Alejandro. Shammai's ethnicity.
Well, they have just told me that Shammai had Nubian features, which means that their ruling family was probably Nubian, and that was unexpected.
Examining Shammai's anatomy closely, the thickness of his bones and the shape of his nasal cavity, the anthropologists think he was a black African, likely from neighboring Nubia. A huge revelation that challenges the prevailing image of the Egyptian ruling class.
We always thought the ancient Egyptian elites were Mediterranean type, and in this sense, Shammai is representing the society of the frontier, in which different ethnic groups were mixed. At the end, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shammai was Egyptian.
The Arab is not an Egyptian.
I come from Egypt. Egypt has a very diverse color palette. People can look like me, or they can look deeper skin tone like Anwar Sadat, who comes from a Nubian origin.
The Arab is not an Egyptian.
The people who built the pyramids were not Arabs. The people who built the pyramids were not Arabs.
The people who built the pyramids were not Arabs.
I'm sorry, your ancestors had their own wonderful civilization in West Africa. They are culture appropriating my culture.
The people who built the pyramids were not Arabs. I know, man, because I am responsible for returning to the bloody Arabs the splinters of the Sphinx's nose and chin, and the Arabs do not want to remake it because it looks Negro.
Any thoughts, Cuz?
I was laughing at Brother Jay Highstar. He was like, it just doesn't matter.
I was about to play it too.
Oh, man. And it's funny because on the in one of those clips, that like the scientist that was surprised, he said, well, I thought that the Egyptian elites, the people that was running Egypt, were I guess he calls it like North African and Mediterranean. Basically, he's saying light skinned white people. It's trying to, kind of like what he's alluding to, but you kind of can see like the underlying racism there. Like I thought the people that was running it, were light skinned. I'm surprised that this black dude, actually made it up to this status, the status. And it's like the skull that he had was dolichocephalic, which is the same, the same skull as the people of Lachish, which is the people of Israel. So it all ties in together, family. A night neat bow.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I tell you, family, the information is there. They know, and to piggyback off what you pointed out, why he was surprised, because they know that normally when you look at many of these dynasties or look at many of these ancient people groups, right? Oftentimes the leadership is not a reflection of the people, because the leadership are normally, for the many cases, are those that have conquered that people. Like in the Egyptians, you'll find, I can't remember which dynasty, but one of the earlier dynasties, they discovered two different peoples there, right? The leadership was one height, and actually those leaders tied into the Sumerians, and proven that the Sumerians had conquered the Egyptians at that particular dynasty. So that's why that's why he was surprised, or he was expecting the conquerors, so to speak, with the elites, so to speak, rather, that they was going to look a different way. You know what I mean? That's why he was surprised. I mean, he looked like he was ready to cry right there. I mean, he looked like someone just took all the wind out of him. So that's why you see him responding that way. But I tell you, a lot of information, family, a lot of information. So I'm gonna go over to a couple more slides, and then we'll do a part 2 tomorrow night, because I do want to go into the description of the Messiah, but we got to paint really kind of walk you through, paint the picture with facts, historical facts, like with the information that Benaiah shared, with the images, the very first image that you see, oldest image that you see of the Messiah, and it wasn't a Caucasian person, or white, or should I say European. All right. So why was Joseph mistaken for an Egyptian? Genesis chapter 42, verse 7 and 8. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself stranger to them. And he spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. All right. So this is what they want you to believe. When I say they, this is what the 1948ers, this is what the Catholic Church, the Christian Church, this is what they want you to believe, that Joseph, he was in Egypt. This is how they want you to believe that this is how Joseph was when he was in Egypt. Surrounded by, in nowadays, they whitewashing everything, but this is what they want you to believe. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, cuz they got the young man with the yellowish brown shirt on, man. His look is priceless. His look is priceless.
Especially this one right here, though.
Oh my goodness. It's like he even giving him some space too. It's like, man, who is this dude, man? You know what I mean? It's like his look is, I'm sorry, Pastor Kelly, but his look's priceless.
That's what they want us to believe. This is the image that they're trying to paint to us, that this is Joseph among the Egyptians, right? So how is Joseph, Miriam, and the Messiah able to hide among the Egyptians? Well, this is what they want us to believe. Matthew chapter 2, verse 12 and 13, excuse me. And being warned of Yahweh in a dream that they should return to Herod, and they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of Yahweh appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. So again, this is supposed to be baby father Jesus, dwelling among the children in Egypt. You know, I'm gonna run an image. You know, I'm gonna run this in the ground. But this is what they want us to believe, that this is how the Messiah would have looked in Egypt among those kids, among the children. Apostle Paul, right? Remember, Apostle Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. Acts chapter 21, verse 37 and 38. And when Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee? Who said, can't speak thou Greek? And there it is right there, right? That's what they want you to believe, that Apostle Paul being mistaken for an Egyptian. That's the imagery. Even though they're trying to whitewash the Egyptians. I didn't put 38 here. I thought I had 38 here. All right, but down at the bottom, I got a little of it here. My apologies, family. Oh, let me do this again. Didn't want to do that. Let me go back here. Let me see if I could go to 38. Let me zoom that in. Are you not that Egyptian, which before these days made an uproar, which led out into the wilderness 4,000 men who were murderers? So Paul is being mistaken. Look at here. Are you not that Egyptian? So Apostle Paul is being mistaken for an Egyptian. He's being mistaken for an Egyptian. All right. So we'll stop right there because I think this is a good point, stopping point. And we'll continue on tomorrow night to go into the details about breaking down the appearance of the Messiah. So again, we're going to give you sources so that way you can understand truly how to respond to this. And I want to say this too, because you guys hear it all the time, a lot, that, hey, it doesn't matter, as Benaiah pointed out, it doesn't matter what the Messiah looked like. Doesn't matter what his skin complexion is. If it doesn't matter, then why you have a white baby father Jesus? You know what I mean? If it doesn't matter, why do you have all these images that we know that is not him? But the key that I want to make too, because people would say that it's not a salvation issue, but in Revelation, I believe chapter 19, I'm trying to remember what chapter it is. I believe it's chapter 19, either 19 or 20. But when it says that, warns us not adding, or anyone adding or taking away from the words of this book. And that if you do that, the plagues are going to come upon you. That's a salvation issue. And guess what? What's written in the book of Revelation? Twice is the Messiah's appearance is there. And we're going to go through it tomorrow. So don't get fooled by anyone that will say to you that it's not a salvation issue. Yes, it is. Because if you teaching a Caucasian or European Messiah, according to the scriptures, guess what? You are in danger. You have a judgment coming your way. Any comments, Benaiah?
Yep. Again, if I can find my mute button. I was just you caused me to pull up the book, because I had a section on there, why it matters, and just kind of read a little bit to you. It's like, it says some might say it doesn't matter what, I'm using their term, what Jesus looked like. Say that his color is irrelevant to his teachings, that his divinity transcends race, and yet the image of Jesus has shaped empires. It has adorned banners in crusades. It has stood in stained glass over slave plantations. It has been weaponized, idealized, and globalized. It says, in the image of one people at the expense of all others. And that's just an excerpt. But it matters, family. They use that as a cudgel. They use that as a hammer to colonize, conquer, and do all manner of things. So if we can get this, get this image put back to the original image, that very first image that we showed you, family, it gets rid of a lot of that power that they've used that image for. So, but yeah,
absolutely
great presentation, Pastor.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Benaiah. And family, the passage is Revelation 22. I know I thought it was 18, but actually it's Revelation 22, starting at verse 18. It reads, "For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, Yahweh shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the prophecy of this book, Yahweh shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book." So the scriptures make it clear. It tells us exactly the complexion, the hair texture. We're going to go into the details. I'm going to prove that Hamashiach had locks and he was dark melanated, a dark melanated Negro. But anyone that says to you it's not a salvation issue, or they may try to phrase it or put a label on it called identity doctrine. Well, they don't know scripture, because according to this particular passage, the couple of passages that I read, anyone that is adding or taking away from this book, if they take away from it, like this pastor here, he quoted supposedly scriptures. Let me play it one more time, and Benaiah, we'll close out with it. You know how pastors are. We keep saying one more time, and it'd be like 40 minutes later. Won't he do it? I'm not going to do that tonight. But let me just play this clip real quick. That's why we have to listen. I always say listen with intelligence. Now listen to what he says as he describes the Messiah, but listen to what he quotes. Listen to exactly how he quotes it. Let me pull it up. I believe it's the second one here.
But some of us use our race as idolatry. I don't care. Black people do that. White people do that. We exalt our race as a form of idolatry. Jesus was not a black man. He was an ethnic Jew and had skin like brass and hair like wool. And had skin like brass and hair like wool.
And had skin like brass and hair like wool.
I mean, why didn't he say as if it burned in a furnace?
Yeah, but still, though, it was kind of like a contradiction, though.
Yeah.
Skin like brass and hair like wool. So is he talking about a European with woolly hair?
Well, the key too, like the woolly hair, but the brass, see, that's a throw off, because actually brass was not a popular, it wasn't even a metal among the ancient Israelites and those guys. It would have been bronze or copper. So when you say brass,
Right.
brass had more of a yellow tone to it. And so that's why that even that brass can be a very deceiving description. But yeah, to your point, he said hair like wool. And like Roland Martin said, if you see those descriptions among Europeans, you know that there's some of us up in there somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, to your point with the hair texture, and when you listen to his quote, he did not say the part about his skin like brass or bronze. Well, of course, KJV had brass, as if it burned in a furnace.
Yeah.
He didn't say that. If he said that, I'm sure the people would have been like, "Oh, wait a minute, that sound like a Negro to me."
Yep. Yeah, I don't understand the pushback from that. From that. I mean, all these scriptures that are out there, even like in the earlier chapters. I want to say, I forgot what book it was in, but when it started talking about like all the like the sickness in the skin, and like if you have a white sore versus a light sore, right? It's like it gives like all these different colors that, or I'm sorry, when it talks about spots, like if you have a white spot, dark, light spot, that sort of stuff. It gives all these different colors in contrast to dark skin. Like if you know what I'm saying, like if a person was white, then you couldn't have a white spot. If a person was kind of light, you couldn't have a kind of light spot, right? So it's like all these scriptures that are out there that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, just using the scriptures alone, that the Israel was dark skinned. You just kind of wonder, like, man, where's this pushback coming from?
I know what's coming from, cuz Candace Owens let the cat out the bag because of what she was going to. And I did some research on this guy here. Like, I'll play the clip real quick. This is Candace Owens that she did on one of her blogs. Did on her blog rather about a week ago. Listen to what she says.
I know that these churches, these mega churches, otherwise, they can be sponsored on trips to, these, like, they're well taken care of. They go over on these overseas trips by these organizations that purport to be alliances. And they said, yes, actually, this was one of these trips. It was sponsored by an organization called Eagle Wings, which is a quote unquote alliance between Christians and Jews.
I didn't put the whole clip when she said alliances between Christians and pastors. That's what she said at the end. But what she was describing is pastors getting trips, 1948 groups are sponsoring leaders in the church to go to Israel and basically putting money in their pocket. Well, just so happened, before I even saw that video, I remember him doing the teaching because I was going through a video that he was talking about a few things about identity, and I was putting some clips together, and I saved this clip right here. Here's a clip right here for you, Benaiah. Listen to what he says.
This is the Mount of Olives. It is a small mountain just outside the city of Jerusalem. I took this picture, or somebody took it of me, in December 2018 when I had an encounter with God that changed my life forever.
All right, so.
Wow. 2018.
Yes, yeah. And it just doesn't stop right there, because when you really study him, right, he graduated from seminary from, what's his name? Now I can't think of the guy's name now.
Like John Hagee or
yeah, he's connected to John Hagee. What is the pastor name? I can't think of now. Talking about him, I even had him in one of my presentations.
Yeah, you got John. Usually they run in packs, like John Hagee, Perry Stone.
What's the other one? Ron Parsley.
Yeah, Ron Parsley. Yep.
Yeah, Ron Parsley. That's his name. When you said the other name, it made me think of Ron Parsley has a school in Chicago, and he attended it and graduated from it. And to your point, Parsley, along with Pat Hagee and the other person you mentioned, they are part of this Christian Zionist organization that was founded by Pat Hagee. And so what they're, as far as what he's saying, it doesn't surprise me because he's part of that group. He's connected to that group. And then, like I said, when Candace Owens was saying what they've been flying pastors out there, they've been doing this for a while, flying pastors out to Israel and, putting money in their pocket and things like that. It was like, okay, wait a minute. That lines up with what he just said. When he said that, I was like, well, when he said that, I just saved the screenshot of it or a video clip of it. But then when Candace Owens said that, I was like, wait a minute, that ties into what he said. He said it changed, you heard what you said. I was like, wow, it lines up. And this answers why he's taking the approach that he's taking when it comes to the scriptures, not just with the description of Christ, how he's teaching prophecy, his angle on that, teaching the rapture doctrine and all. He got the whole playbook of, the Zionists, Christian Zionists.
Man, because you're tapping into something that's, wow, it's Pandora's box. And it's actually something that's a major problem in our community. And actually, believe it or not, it's like actually something that we're, I was tracking on, with the African Israelite Justice Foundation. I was tracking it from a different perspective. And that is like the outside influence of organizations and people in Israel against our community. Right, because I mean, just like you were saying, like the Candace Owens, I think you probably already have the clip pulled out, but Candace Owens, when they were coming against her, she was talking about how there was I think she said it was like a rabbi over in over in Israel that was literally funding, sponsoring these churches over here to create social media clips against Candace Owens and also Tucker Carlson. Like, you got to wonder, like, man, so why are these people over there throwing shots at folks over here? Well, maybe it's just Candace Owens. Maybe maybe it's just Tucker Carlson, no family. And this is one of the things because I have a discussion on a different platform tomorrow morning, and one of the things we're going to talk about is like how these other organizations that are actually in Israel are throwing shots at us. They have these underhanded policies and initiatives that are directly targeting our community, and we are oblivious to it. Like Pastor Kelly just pointed out, like this pastor was wooed to come over to Israel or whatever, however he got over there, right? Came up with this message. Like he just said, he got this epiphany while he was sitting on his wall, probably while somebody was sliding, I would say sliding some ducats in his pocket. You know how they move. But all of a sudden he has this new epiphany of who and what. And so he comes over here and he starts to give us, his community, this idea, or these ideas that line up with these Zionists. And like I say, it's just not him, family. It's not him. It's some other organizations that I think you'll be surprised that are coming against our community. And it always, I won't say always, I say a lot, 99.9% of the time, it originates from outside of the U.S., from Israel, or the Israeli in the state of Israel. But I'll just leave it at that, Pastor Kelly. I know we're long in the tooth as far as the your presentation, but yeah, you open up a Pandora's box on that one, Pastor Kelly. That's major. That's major.
And family, that's what the Messiah said. Hey, beware of wolves in sheep's clothing. In other words, that deception is going to look like you and I. But you will not know until you actually, unless you have the spirit of Yah, really understanding what discernment is, to be able to catch, or these wolves before they do harm in our community. Actually, some of them are already doing harm, like some of the things that he said. He's doing a lot of harm, a lot of damage, because again, I think Cousin May just posted a video of someone trying to defend this guy from our community, echoing what he's saying. So let's keep our eyes and ears, our spirit in sync with Yah's spirit, family. So with that being said, let me give a quick shout out here. I see a super chat here. Angel 1973. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the love and support. And family, let's show some love for Sister Angel for her contributions tonight. Hallelujah. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. And Benai, as we get ready to wrap up, any final words you want to share with the people?
No, just can't wait for part 2, Pastor Kelly. I know it's going to be very informative. And yeah, family, this is a big problem with these outside organizations, funding or sponsoring people here in the States to come up against our community in different ways. And I think that what you're looking at, or what Pastor Kelly's uncovering, is like, this is just one of the many ways that that these folks try to come up against our community. So yeah, I can't wait for part 2.
Appreciate it, cuz. And family, I want to say Shabbat Shalom. Hope and pray that you guys really rest and celebrate the Most High on the Shabbat. Truth be told, it's not just about rest, but it's also about celebrating. So if you're dealing with anything, whatever it may be, whatever things that may be troubling you, the Most High is saying deal with that from the first day to the 6th day of the week, which would be, we call Sunday to Friday. But on the Shabbat, put that problem, put all that stuff aside, and give the Most High your undivided attention, because he says in his word that he inhabits the praises of his people. So if you toss that stuff aside, those problems aside, and you just make it a point on this Shabbat that you're going to celebrate anyway, because you have more things to celebrate than to be upset at. Just celebrate, even if your body may not be feeling good today, your arm or leg or just your spirit, whatever. You just praise him anyway. Finances may not be the way you want it. Praise him anyway. Your family relationships may not be the way that you want it. Praise him anyway, because truly your praise is really the quickest solution to resolve your issues. Because when Yahweh shows up, guess what? Things never remain the same. So the shortest distance to getting through any problem starts with your praise. And that's what these different religious systems, especially these Abrahamic faiths that Abraham did not create, nor did any of the ancient Israelites practice, but this is what they're using to try to hinder the praises of Yah's people. So with that being said, in the words of the Most High that he gave to Moses in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14, to give to the children of Israel, who was at what appeared to be a dead end. And they was basically caught in a dead end with the Egyptians coming to take them out. The Most High said to Moses, give these words of comfort. Said, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, they will never have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, family. We must hold our peace. And the Hebrew word there is charash, which means be quiet. Calculated silence. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.